Hey everyone, I'm back with another update. In this episode, I'll cover immigration related news, welfare and Medicaid schemes, sedition drama, the indictments of James Comey and Letitia James, and Thanksgiving related news. Of course, I'll end with the noteworthy tidbits. Starting with immigration related news, which is basically a hodgepodge of headlines today. Apprehensions in Charlotte, North Carolina are now around 400, and an after school program in the city suspended its operations after it was exposed for shielding illegal aliens from federal agents. The Trump administration is now surging hundreds of federal agents to New Orleans to arrest and deport illegal immigrants, and New Orleans Police Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick is being ridiculed for falsely claiming that being in the country illegally is a civil issue and that NOLA PD will not enforce civil law. 21 blue states are pushing to reinstate SNAP benefits for refugees, including illegal aliens, and according to CNN, the Trump administration is moving to re-interview and potentially deport refugees allowed into the country under Biden. Housing Secretary Scott Turner launched a hotline for people to report criminals and illegal aliens in public housing, and a Senate report exposed that the Biden administration forced at least 11 airports to house illegal aliens and migrants, despite warnings that it might place American travelers at risk. President Trump and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem terminated temporary protected status for migrants from Burma and Myanmar, and an illegal alien was caught as part of a porch pirate ring in Suffolk County, New York, with 14 people being indicted. An employee from the Department of Justice was arrested and charged with terrorism after doxing a federal border agent during an illegal alien raid, and Border Czar Tom Homan said ICE is tripling its number of deportation agents by mid-January. On to the Somalian welfare and Medicaid fraud schemes. Investigations by the U.S. Attorney's Office in Minnesota revealed interconnected fraud rings exploiting programs meant for vulnerable populations, including Feeding Our Future, Medicaid Housing Stabilization Services, and Autism Services. Feeding Our Future is a child nutrition program with the scandal involving $250 million worth of fraud, one of the largest in USDA history. As of November 21st, 77 indictments related to the scandal were issued. The Medicaid Housing Stabilization Services was launched in 2023 to aid housing for low-income residents, and the program ballooned from $2.6 million in initial estimates to $61 million in payouts by mid-2025. 8 men, 6 of which are Somali, were charged with wire fraud for setting up sham companies, with the program being terminated in August due to credible fraud allegations affecting 77 providers. As for the Autism Services fraud, claims exploded from $4 million in 2018 to $399 million in 2023, with providers surging 700% from 41 to 328, many of which are Somali-linked. Fraudsters allegedly issued fake diagnoses to Somali families, enrolling non-autistic children in treatment centers for kickbacks up to $1,500 per month per child while billing Medicaid. Federal sources estimated $500 million to over $1.5 billion stolen across programs, with remittances up to $1.7 billion annually to Somalia, allegedly taxed by al-Shabaab at 10 to 40% cuts. Counterterrorism officials called Minnesota taxpayers the largest funder of al-Shabaab. These schemes exploited Minnesota's generous welfare system, expanded under Democratic leadership by Governor Tim Walz, with weak oversight, clan-based networks, and cultural distrust of institutions enabling rapid growth. In a major legal twist, a Hennepin County judge, Sarah West, overturned a jury's unanimous guilty verdict against Abdulfatah Yusuf in a $7.2 million Medicaid home health fraud case. Jurors called the evidence obvious, including luxury purchases like a Porsche 911, but West ruled insufficient direct proof of Yusuf's knowledge. Let's switch to the topic I'm labeling sedition drama. On the 23rd, President Trump fired off a storm of posts on Truth Social urging legal action and accountability for the 6 congressional Democrats who fomented sedition from the armed forces, and Vice President Vance pointed out that if the president hasn't issued illegal orders, then members of Congress telling the military to defy the president is by definition illegal. Senator Alyssa Slotkin, who appears in the video, admitted on ABC's This Week that she's unaware of any illegal Trump orders, but defends the video as a reminder of military oaths to the Constitution. On the 24th, the Pentagon announced an investigation into Senator Mark Kelly, a Navy veteran and astronaut, for serious allegations of misconduct, potentially leading to recall to active duty and court-martial. Lawmakers reported increased death threats and bomb threats, and Slotkin said her security has been ramped up. On the 25th, the FBI's Counterterrorism Division contacted the House and Senate sergeants at arms to request interviews with the 4 House members in the video, who released a joint statement saying they view the FBI outreach as retaliation for upholding the Uniform Code of Military Justice, which requires refusing unlawful orders. No charges have been filed yet, but the Pentagon and FBI probes could lead to administrative actions or trials. Shifting to the indictments of James Comey and Letitia James. An activist judge dismissed the indictments of James Comey and Letitia James without prejudice, meaning the indictments could potentially be refiled, with the reason given being U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan was illegally appointed. Halligan's appointment by Attorney General Pam Bondi violated federal law, which limits the Attorney General's authority to appoint interim U.S. attorneys to 120 days without district court or Senate involvement. Halligan's role began after this window, making her actions, including presenting evidence to the grand jury and signing the indictments, unlawful and void. Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon indicated they will appeal, and Bondi confirmed an appeal is underway. President Trump commented on the situation, saying, "If you look at the actual charges, anybody that looks at it very fairly would say, boy, are they guilty. So let's see what happens over the next week." Let's move on to some Thanksgiving-related news. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy called for air civility ahead of Thanksgiving, calling on people to not dress in their pajamas and to please be nice to TSA and flight staff. He also encouraged people to be courteous of those around them by using their headphones while watching a movie and to not take their shoes off and rest their feet in other people's space. President Trump and First Lady Melania participated in the Thanksgiving turkey pardon, which was somewhat of a stand-up performance by both President Trump and the turkeys Gobble and Waddle. Vice President Vance delivered remarks and thanked the troops at the Army's Fort Campbell in Kentucky, and tomorrow President Trump will be speaking to U.S. service members from Palm Beach. Now it's time for the noteworthy tidbits, which are brought to you today by Big Fork Brands. Let me tell you about them quick. Sometimes I get on a roll cleaning or gardening, and I need a boost but don't have time for a meal. Big Fork Brand's pork jerky is the perfect choice to keep my momentum, offering high-protein snacks for on-the-go energy boosts. Not only do they offer pork jerky, but they also make pork sticks, bacon sausage, bacon hot dogs, and burger and hot dog sauces. Products come in a variety of delicious flavors, including Thai green curry and maple and brown sugar for the meat options, and gangster and Chicago fire for the sauces. I personally think the original flavor of the pork jerky hits just right after tackling a big chore. It's a little salty and very flavorful. My discount code gives you 20% off your entire order, and it's currently the best deal available. Just visit bigforkbrands.com and enter in my promo code JADE, that's J-A-D-E, at checkout. All right, let's get back to the tidbits. President Trump is expected to announce the Healthcare Price Cuts Act any day now to fix the broken Obamacare subsidy system that gives billions of dollars to big insurance. Texas is about a week away from allowing the purchase of ivermectin without a prescription. The Department of Justice filed with the Supreme Court to overturn Hawaii's anti-Second Amendment law that bans public carry of firearms. President Trump ordered the FCC to halt a proposed merger that allows left-wing media networks to grow larger. According to Newsmax, Nexstar officially filed with the FCC for approval of its $6.2 billion merger with Tegna, and if approved, the deal would create the largest TV station group in the nation, owning 245 stations across 44 states and reaching more than 80% of U.S. households, well beyond the 39% limit. Reuters falsely reported that the Department of Government Efficiency disbanded, but the department is still going strong. The fake news report that President Trump was plotting to remove Kash Patel as FBI director has also been debunked. Utah legislature will soon convene in a special session to reverse an activist judge's ruling that required the state to give Democrats a U.S. Congress seat in the 2026 midterms, and Indiana Senate Republicans will be considering the new 2026 congressional map in a couple of weeks. President Trump threatened to primary out every Senate Republican who votes against it, and Indiana Governor Mike Braun demanded the legislature be passed. President Trump will be heading to Beijing, China in April to continue the progress of improving U.S. China relations. Ukrainian officials agreed to a peace proposal with Russia brokers by President Trump's team, and Trump sent Special Envoy Steve Witkoff to meet with Russian President Putin regarding this. Trump said he looks forward to a trilateral meeting with Putin and Zelensky soon, and although he's back home in Mar-a-Lago for Thanksgiving, he is being regularly briefed on the peace negotiations. According to Real Clear Politics, Vice President Vance has the highest net favorable rating among Americans out of all political leaders, and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is the least popular. President Trump and Secretary of State Marco Rubio are officially designating the Maduro-led Cartel de los Soles a foreign terrorist organization, and Trump ordered Rubio and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent to give Muslim Brotherhood chapters the same designation. Jake Lang filed a $200 million federal hate crime lawsuit against the Dearborn, Michigan Police Department, City Council, and Mayor after Lang was assaulted while marching against Islam in America and the police refused to act. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis proposed new laws to protect dogs and puppies from inhumane conditions statewide, cracking down on puppy mills and creating a new hotline to report animal abuse from breeders to create ethical dog breeding practices statewide. Additional legislation will provide increased penalties for individuals who abuse or torture animals in front of minors. President Trump signed an executive order modeled after the Manhattan Project to deploy 40,000 United States scientists and engineers for the rapid advancement of AI over our competitors. Attorney General Pam Bondi confirmed that since federal officers arrived in Memphis to crack down on crime, 121 missing children have been located, 3,100 arrests have been made, 500 illegal weapons have been seized, the murder rate has been cut in half, and the crime rate is the lowest in 20 years. Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser will not seek re-election next year, according to the Washington Post. President Trump endorsed Nebraska Governor Jim Pillen for re-election, and he encouraged people in Tennessee's 7th Congressional District to vote for Matt Van Epps if they haven't done so already. James O'Keefe exposed a director at the U.S. Government Accountability Office who admitted he and other deep state actors are obstructing HHS Secretary RFK Jr., saying they stole and backed up vaccine data HHS reportedly removed, and also, if they ever find a way to get me, I'm done. Senator Tommy Tuberville is pushing legislation requiring rideshare drivers, including Uber and Lyft, to be proficient in English. War Secretary Pete Hegseth confirmed $1.2 billion is being invested into fixing disastrous living conditions for members of the military at the barracks. The Ohio House of Representatives passed the Charlie Kirk American Heritage Act, which will allow history classes to teach the positive influence of Christianity and religion. That's all I have for today. I'll be back with another update soon. Have you reviewed my show yet, by the way? If you haven't, please do so. Also, like, subscribe, share this podcast, follow me on all the social medias at Shades of Jade Pod. Thank you for listening. Have a great day and have a happy Thanksgiving.